Hello, Peter. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tony. All is good?
All is good. All is good.
Ready for playing the shows for us?
Absolutely. Right after your your how do you call it? Your speech, then I put it on. Right.
Very good. Thank you very much. Great. Okay, let's go mute a little bit.
Hello, Peter and Tony.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
How about the sound from Korea? Is it fine?
It's good.
Thanks.
Dear colleagues, good morning in the Americas, good afternoon in Africa, and good evening in Korea. It's 4 o'clock Rome time. Maybe we could wait a couple of more minutes to further colleague to join. Please stay on the line. Thank you. Dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening again to all of you, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you very much for your interest in joining this webinar about the preparations for the 15th World Forestry Congress. Allow me to share with you a couple of technical announcements. This webinar is going to be conducted in English, Spanish, and French. And then you will find the interpretation button on the lower right side of your screen. I would like to ask all speakers and panelists to keep your microphones on mute whenever you are not talking. Please be informed that questions later on will be collected in the Q&A function. The chat is reserved for sharing information regarding the technical conduct of the webinar, and colleagues will stand ready to help you should you experience any difficulties. But again, the questions you are kindly requested to share through the Q&A button. And I would like to inform you also that the attendees are on mute, so you will not be able to speak. You can communicate with us through the chat and the Q&A functions. And then please be also informed that the session is recorded and will be placed on a YouTube channel for the benefit of those who are not able to join this webinar this time, but would like to watch it later on. My name is Peter Csorka, and I'm working for FAO, and I'm the Associate Secretary General of the World Forestry Congress. And this is my particular pleasure to introduce to you our first speakers, Secretary General of the Congress, Mr. Keeon Ko, and thank him and his team to be with us on this event, given the fact that it is late in the night in Korea. This is 11 p.m. So without much ado, I would like to hand over the microphone to Mr. Ko and invite him to make his opening statement. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Csorka. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night here in Korea and the Northeast Asian region. Dear friends and colleagues, thank you, World Forest Congress Secretariat of FAO and Korea Forest Service for inviting me to today's webinar and to address such a distinguished group of decision makers, experts, colleagues, forest people, and fellow citizens. First, allow me to express my most profound appreciation to the Congress Secretariat in Rome and FAO for bringing us unwavering effort in regard to preparing World Forest Congress, which will be held in COEX, Seoul next year. The launch of the Preparatory Office on June 2020 signaled that Korea Forest Service has started to make a full-scale preparation for the 15th World Forest Congress, and since then has been carrying out various tasks such as organizing a steering council and science and technology advisory group, setting up the agenda of the Congress, such as preparing the venue for the event, accommodation, transportation, room allocation for each event in the Congress. We also will conduct a partnership for the sound and close sponsorship to encourage organizations and entities from domestic and abroad who are interested in participating to the World Forest Congress. And lastly, to publishing the event through the various media outlets. Korea Forest Service Secretariat launched the official website on the Congress on May 21st this year, and it is operating in 4 languages, which are Korean, English, French, and Spanish as well. On the close collaboration with the Secretariat in Rome, we have selected themes and sub-themes, and you can see that them all on our website. For a Florist Congress preparation, FAO and the Korea Forest Service gathered together by internet conference platform every 2 weeks. As the World Forest Congress is the world's largest forestry conference, then you may know, we, the Secretariat, expect to attract a wide range of participants from government, international organizations, CSOs, scientific bodies, and forestry society around the world. Representatives from the agricultural and environmental sectors, responsible entrepreneurs who are interested in climate change and the environmental organization are considered as our prominent audience as well. We, as the host country will share Korea's successful forestation model with the international communities and present a future-oriented vision by hosting the World Forest Congress. The World Health Organization, or WHO, on March 11, declared the COVID-19 pandemic. The world entered into the economic and the social crisis, and we all have the direct and indirect impact from this virus. However, Korea, as the host country, has been strictly responding to the COVID-19 by detecting the COVID-19 with the early test procedures, exhaustively managing two effective persons, and implementing a 3-level social distancing measure properly. Korea, with abundant experience for hosting such a big international event, such as the UFRO World Congress, G20 Seoul Summit, and major UN-related meeting, will be a robust foundation for preparing the World Forest Congress a success. We will eliminate any worries or concern about this worldwide pandemic disease. As a host countries of this Congress, we for sure will establish a well-organized contingency plan for the backup situation. I would like to take this opportunity to share with the following. Now, we have the major issues for the international forestry communities to face and to address in a timely manners. And deforestation and the degradation are the main challenge, in particular for the Latin America and the North American regions. And together with the forest disaster and the wildfire and the pest and the disease, which has declined in recent years, but still remains high in these particular regions. Sadly, we are deeply impacted by the forest fires happened in the Amazon regions last year, and this phenomenon has been the frequent occasion. And beside this, the issues, the African continent, due to the farmland expansion and the desertification, has diminished the forest area and the land productivities, which create a high increase of the environmental refuges day by day. With this regard, all of those critical issues will be delivered during the Congress through different modalities such as special events, side events, technical session under the theme and the sub-theme relevant. Dear colleagues, today we all gathered together here via this network platform to sharing the ideas, suggestions, experiences to better establish the World Forest Congress in 2021. Moreover, I believe that today's meeting has been a place to discuss that the forestry sector can play a pivotal role to address challenges from the climate change and COVID-19. I hope this webinar will be a suitable venue to talk in detail for the preparation of the Congress from the perspective as the host country side, for example, general overview and the programs, logistic, exhibition, study tour, and as the occasion to be elaborated from the various views. Thank you for listening and for the time sharing with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ko, for your introductory remarks, and in particular for the information about the preparations and the assurances of the safety of participants under the current pandemic or its follow-up. In order for everybody to see how wonderful conditions will await us in Seoul, Korean colleagues have prepared a short video which we would like to present to you now.
Music always embraces an era. It holds the time, space, and scenery of the city that we love.
Seoul is a truly special city. This trail is an old railroad track that, instead of being torn down, was completely reformed. The city has created a sense of ease and romance I had forgotten, and it surprises me every time I experience it.
You see? What another perfect reason to stay.
I moved to Seoul and now live and work here. I was very impressed with this culture that maintains original aspects while adding a new sense.
It's because empathy is what matters. People-centered values that prioritize the happiness of everyone are found across Seoul, where past traditions in the present coexist.
That warm feeling. Isn't that a great reason to live in Seoul?
I think Seoul is filled with more energy than any other city. Such energy becomes the possibilities of the future. Various attempts to connect individuals and businesses create new business opportunities, and it makes Seoul a city where creative investments are possible with advanced 5G technologies. Creative,
More dynamic,
more refreshing,
And more passionate city.
Seoul, a special city for you and me. I saw you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that the video has enticed all of us and we are ready to go to this wonderful location already. But to shed a little bit more light on the relevance of the World Forestry Congresses, I would like to invite Mrs. Christine Farsi, who is the chair of the European Forestry Commission, and in that capacity also vice chair of the Committee on Forestry. And furthermore, she is the member of the advisory committee of the World Forestry Congress, to talk to us a little bit about the relevance of the congresses in the past and recently. Christine, over to you.
Bonjour, bon après-midi et bonsoir à tous. Le Congrès forestier mondial offre tous les 6 ans à la communauté forestière mondiale une occasion unique de se rencontrer, de réfléchir, de débattre et d'aller de l'avant. De Madrid, d'Eradoun, Buenos Aires à Séoul, en partenariat avec la FAO, Le congrès permet d'aborder les défis mondiaux tout en découvrant le contexte particulier du pays hôte. Le cas de la Corée sera à n'en pas douter inspirant, vu son expérience réussie de restauration du couvert forestier dans le pays et sa mise en œuvre concrète de la foresterie sociale. Depuis sa première édition en 1926 à Rome, le Congrès forestier mondial est en effet une plateforme unique de dialogue mondial sur les forêts, constituant un pilier majeur dans la coopération internationale et dans l'accompagnement et l'encadrement du développement de la foresterie dans le monde, sur le plan technique ou méthodologique, mais aussi conceptuel. Le deuxième congrès qui s'est tenu en 1936 à Budapest a suggéré de créer une organisation internationale, le Centre international de sylviculture, qui a été établi et a fonctionné à Berlin avant que la guerre ne le ferme. Il a ensuite été intégré au sein de la FAO nouvellement créée. Le CIS était en quelque sorte le précurseur de la foresterie de la FAO. Le premier congrès s'est concentré sur les préoccupations techniques liées à la préservation des ressources en bois. La 5e édition en 1960 à Seattle a quant à elle abordé l'utilisation multiple de la forêt et des terres associées. L'édition de Paris en 1991 s'est inscrite dans l'idée d'utilisation rationnelle des ressources forestières et les éditions suivantes dans la multifonctionnalité et la gestion durable des forêts. Aujourd'hui, le concept d'utilisation durable émerge, ainsi qu'une nouvelle vision de la durabilité encadrée par les limites de la planète d'un côté et le fondement social du bien-être de l'autre. Le congrès offre également l'occasion de faire le point sur les menaces qui pèsent sur la forêt et la société, comme en 1985 au Mexique, où les discussions ont porté notamment sur la destruction des forêts tropicales, la pénurie de bois de feu dans les zones arides et semi-arides, ou les incendies de forêt. En 1997, à Antalya, le décalage entre les progrès impressionnants dans le développement des concepts, des outils et des institutions et le taux alarmant de déforestation et de dégradation des forêts a été souligné. Ces deux problématiques sont malheureusement encore toujours d'actualité. Outre les menaces, le congrès permet aussi d'aborder bien sûr les opportunités et les moyens de les concrétiser, comme notamment à travers le thème de la forêt pour les hommes en 1978 à Jakarta et plus tard en 2003 à Québec avec la forêt pour les hommes et la forêt pour la planète comme principaux domaines de discussion. Aujourd'hui, des tendances mondiales fortes comme l'urbanisation de la société ouvrent de nouveaux horizons. Je vais poursuivre en espagnol. Las sucesivas ediciones del Congreso también destacaron la creciente complejidad de los problemas forestales desde el punto de vista de la gobernanza y dieron lugar a repetidos llamamientos a los forestales para ir más allá de las fronteras de su mundo. En 85 en México, para mirar más allá de sus propios recursos. En 2015 en Durban, para lograr una mejor integración entre los sectores. La creciente fragmentación de la política forestales muestra cómo este problema todavía necesita formas innovadoras de pensamiento para ser mejor y más estratégicamente gestionado. El Congreso es también una caja de resonancia. Nunca olvidaré el llamado de la juventud en Durban en 2015, cuando un grupo de estudiantes desafió a la audiencia desde el podio diciendo: somos la generación que enfrentará la crisis climática. Los programas educativos actuales no nos están preparando de manera correcta. Necesitamos nuevas habilidades en comunicación, en negociaciones. Eso me permite recordar la contribución del Congreso en el enriquecimiento y la renovación de la educación forestal, abriendo a nuevos enfoques y ámbitos. Las formas de implementar concretamente la interdisciplinaridad y valorizarla en las carreras de los investigadores serán cruciales para abordar los desafíos futuros. Sin dudas, para poder abordar los problemas emergentes, y solo mencioné algunos, la comunidad forestal tuvo que progresar en la estructuración, en la recompilación de datos, en la construcción de información y en el intercambio de conocimiento. Alimentar los debates públicos con aportes racionales rigurosos y tomar decisiones informadas es realmente crucial. Gracias a los avances en la tecnología de la información y la comunicación que se comparten regularmente durante los congresos, el progreso ha sido meteórico. Desde Helsinki, en 49, donde se tomó la decisión de recomendar la preparación de un diccionario forestal en los principales idiomas del mundo. Pero, y con esto concluiré mi intervención, algunos componentes del diálogo de hoy sobre los bosques obligan a ir más allá de la racionalidad, ofreciendo al Congreso un espacio para caminos innovadores. Las preocupaciones climáticas y ambientales están provocando un salto del bosque muy alto en la agenda política, como lo demuestran las promesas de plantar árboles que alcanzan niveles impresionantes en todo el mundo. Al mismo tiempo, las muchas turbulencias que atraviesa la humanidad, creando incertidumbre y un sentimiento de urgencia, está exacerbando la tensión en el debate público sobre los bosques que son la cuna de la humanidad y cuyo valor simbólico se está volviendo central. Esto implica que además de las dimensiones científicas y económicas, las dimensiones éticas y simbólicas tengan el lugar que merecen en el diálogo internacional sobre los bosques. El Congreso Forestal Mundial, sin duda, tiene una gran oportunidad para mostrar el camino y guiar el progreso en esa dirección. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, estimada Cristina, por estas palabras. And indeed, this history that you have us walking through has set the bar very high for the organizers of the XV World Forestry Congress. And we have made lots of consultations with all kinds of stakeholders to come up with a program that could meet your expectations. And I would like to invite my colleague, Simone Rose, to present us the architecture of the next Congress. Over to you, Simone.
Thank you, Peter. I will start to share the screen with the presentation. Thank you for the introduction and in fact highlighting the consultative approach that we took to preparing the theme and the sub-themes and that we will continue to take in the preparation of the program of the Congress. The theme of the Congress is building a green, healthy, and resilient future with forests. As the Secretary General of the World Forestry Congress alluded to, we are in this pandemic period, and the theme itself is looking futurewards, looking towards rebuilding post-COVID-19, but rebuilding with forests at the center, rebuilding greener, rebuilding healthier, and rebuilding more resilient. The 6 sub-themes of the Congress address the main or the most important issues that are currently facing the forestry sector. And whilst time doesn't permit me to go into detail into the sub-themes, I'd just like to highlight that we have one sub-theme dealing with reversing deforestation and forest degradation. The Secretary General made mention of this being a major issue in certain regions of the world. The second sub-theme looks at solutions for climate change adaptation and mitigation, as well as biodiversity conservation. And this is particularly important as we go into the looking at the post-2020 framework for biodiversity. The third sub-theme looks at the green pathway to growth and sustainability. So here looking at the importance of forests for national economic growth and development. The fourth sub-theme focuses on forests and human health and the the past, present, and future connections that forests and human well-being have. The fifth sub-theme looks at how we manage and communicate forest information from monitoring, from resource assessments, how we manage and communicate that information and knowledge. And the last sub-theme looks beyond forests, so forests without boundaries, both the policy and the physical boundaries of forests to enhance the management of the forest ecosystem, landscapes in general, and promoting intersectoral cooperation. The program itself of the Congress will be based on plenary sessions where we will have distinguished and outstanding recognized speakers, technical sessions which will form the basis of the sub-theme discussions, special and side events that focus on specific thematic areas, but that also provide an opportunity for sharing expertise, best practices, and other technical information, poster sessions, exhibitions, pre and post-Congress events, and there will be plenty of room for networking of all stakeholders during the Congress. The backbone of the technical sessions will be based on the voluntary contributions in terms of papers, posters, and videos. And the call for abstracts for these papers, posters, and videos is currently open, and all submissions must be made online. One of the most important criteria for papers, posters, and videos will be their relevance to the theme and at least one of the 6 sub-themes that I previously mentioned. You can find all information related to and guidance related to the submission of abstracts on the official website of the Congress under the program tab. Just to keep in mind some important dates that are upcoming. The deadline for submission of the abstracts for papers and posters is the 31st of August, whilst the deadline for videos is the 5th of October. Once papers and posters have been submitted, they will go through a review process. And by the 9th of October, accepted or authors of accepted abstracts for papers and posters will be notified and will be required to submit the full papers and posters by the 27th of November. Similarly, the call for side events is currently open, and this is a call for side and partner events. Again, as with the abstracts, the call is open online. All submissions must be made online, and again, they must be relevant to the theme or at least one of the 6 sub-themes. Now, given the current situation with COVID-19, virtual or hybrid formats for side events will also be accepted in addition to full physical events, and there is no cost associated for the hosting of a side event. The guidance and submission details are available on the official Congress website. And kindly note, the deadline for submission of side events is the 31st of August, and accepted event organizers will be notified by the 2nd of October. I would like to encourage you to support the Congress by helping us to disseminate the open calls for abstracts and side events through your networks and through your different organizations. But more importantly also to submit your abstracts and events to spread the word and to encourage participation. We know that it is a challenging time, but to encourage participation at the Congress in May next year. And for those who are able to, we look forward to seeing you in Seoul. Please note that registration will open at the end of August, and early bird registration will close on the 30th of November. Kindly continue to visit the website. The URL is at the bottom of the screen for updated information. We will be providing all information with respect to registration and the Congress preparations through the official website. But if you have specific queries related to the program, please feel free to contact us using any of the email addresses on the screen, whether you have general program inquiries or specific inquiries related to abstracts or events. General logistics or other Congress inquiries can be directed to the info@wfc2021korea.org email box. And with that, I've come to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. And Peter, I hand the microphone back to you.
Thank you very much, Simone, for this very informative presentation. And just to continue the same train of thought, I would like to invite Mr. Hakim Kim, who is the Deputy Director at the Korea Forest Service and the key person in the Secretariat, to present further details on the host country preparations and next steps, including registration and other logistical aspects. Over to you.
I am Deputy Director of the WFC, Hakim Kim. I am very honored to be here and giving a presentation about the preparation for the 50 World Forestry Congress as a host country. This presentation will be brief, but to attract colleagues to come to the next year Congress. Let me briefly introduce our logo and an official website. I will also give information including venue, transportation, accommodation, and the essential point to elaborate COVID-19 prevention guideline and how to participate. First, logo and website. The logo represents a human with nature rooting a traditional Korean symbol as taeg, which describes balance in the universe. The website is prepared for 4 languages: Korean, English, Spanish, and French. The essential notice will be posted on the website for the first place. Next, I would like to talk about venue. The venue for the Congress is COEX, located in the central part of Seoul, where stopped by a cluster of skyscrapers surrounded. You can enjoy service like a city, airport terminal, shopping center, and hotel under the same roof. COEX has 4 stories with 36,000 square meters of space. Space can be divided into 12 separated spaces, including a convention hall with space for up to 7,000 people accommodating at the same time. There will be 55 rooms equipped with state-of-the-art equipment. I would like to show brief floor plan. In the ground floor, exhibition booths will be all located, as well as registration desks for participants. Individual spaces for sub-team will also be prepared. Additional spaces for sub-teams will be placed on 2nd floor, also VIP lounge, office area, respectively. The 3rd floor is mainly for key events Opening and closing ceremony will be held on third floor, as well as side events and special events. The fourth floor will be mainly for the media center. I would like to show a visual concept for the stage during our event. This is the visual concept for the backstage of opening and closing ceremony in the grand ballroom. This is different kind of visual concept for the back or of conference room for special event and sub-theme sessions. Participants-oriented facilities are smart print sensor, digital information display, food court, and Korean Cultural Center. This is a visual concept for what I have just mentioned. Let me introduce transportation and accommodation. An information desk will be operated within Incheon Airport Terminal. All participants who arrive at the airport can information as much as they need. From Incheon Airport to the venue, COEX take around 70 minutes to 110 minutes, which depends on means of transport, whether you use limousine, bus, train, subway, or cabs. Accommodation details can easily check on the website. Most of the hotels are located very close to COEX, which will take you 5 minutes by foot to 10 minutes by car. Last, but a very important point to check is about COVID-19 prevention guideline. Since the coronavirus outbreak from early this year, I think the preventive measure on COVID-19 is essential point that we, as a host country, should be very cautious in sanitation. A full and robust epidemic prevention effort will be conducted during the Congress. I will show a short video for a sound understanding of how we are preparing in response to COVID-19 situation at the end of the presentation. For summer image camera will be installed in each entry point and hand sanitizer will be placed together. The air quality will be monitored every 2 hours with air purification every 15 minutes. Disinfection process will be carried out twice a day. We will decrease the seating capacity of conference room by considering a social distancing. We will also be prepared on additional space to check the site on a real-time basis via the webcasting system. A micro sanitizing gateway will do facial recognition and take a temperature at the same time, and will sprinkle disinfectant to the people who pass the entrance. This anti-disease control system will be deployed at every single point of access to conference rooms. I would like to share opportunity to participate in this event. All participants should be registered and registration process will be done via the homepage from the end of August. Special rate for early bird is applicable by 30 November. More detailed information can be checked on our official website soon. Every participant can apply exhibition booths and will allocate a special space for exhibition. How to apply, process, and fee will soon be uploaded. Tour programs will be prepared to meet the diverse needs of participants. A day trip to DMG and Botanical Garden, day and night sightseeing program of hotspot around Seoul City, and 2 days and 1 night program will be offered. Please feel free to contact us for any kind of questions that you may have. Here we provide email of our secretary members. As I mentioned earlier, I would like to end this presentation by sharing a short video regarding the quarantine effort at the venue COEX. Thank you for sharing your valuable time.
Everyone, I am Yeju Kim and I work for COEX Convention team. Today I'm going to show you how we at COEX Convention Center do K-quarantine. So here I am at Korea Landscape Garden Expo. This is the first exhibition taking place in the COEX after the COVID-19 outbreak. Thus we have made thorough provisions not only for the event itself, but also to create a safe and sterile environment. So today, I'll take you behind the scenes to show how COEX is putting its K-quarantine policies to work. Under the current COVID-19 circumstances, COEX exhibitions follow at the three-phase disease prevention manual. First, on the preparation stage, COEX ensures the following. Next, let's take a look at the disease prevention system while the event is going on. Our staff also take care of these issues inside the exhibition hall. Finally, let's take a look at the third phase, where companies dismantle their exhibitions once the event is over. So that was the three-phase disease prevention manual COEX has put into place to combat COVID-19. But the most important countermeasure is consideration of all our visitors who take care of their own hygiene from the moment they arrive until departure. Your consideration is what makes a successful exhibition at COEX. As K-quarantine set the new standard for the global exhibition disease prevention protocols, COEX will strive to be the model convention center of K-MICE and promise to set an example in this post-COVID-19 era.
I would like to thank Mr. Kim for the excellent presentation and for introducing to us these wonderful facilities. Unfortunately, these days we can't talk about international meetings without being mindful of the implications of the COVID pandemic. And I'm happy to know that in this regard, we could see that we will be in the best hands in the COEX Center next year. Dear colleagues, this was the series of presentations from our side, and now we would like to open a question and answer session there. As mentioned at the beginning, for questions and answers to be answered, you would need to use the Q&A function, and please use the respective button below of the screen. And there has already one question arrived asking about the difference between partner events and other events. This is just a small note to the fact that not only the Secretariat, KFS and the FAO is organizing events during the Congress, but there will be opportunities for all kind of events to be organized, and interested parties can submit their requests through the respective forms in the website to recommend events, and those that will be organized by external partners are labeled as external events. And somebody noted that somebody had the nose exposed, and that is not the correct way to wear a face mask. Yes, indeed, this is very true. I'm looking at the Q&A functions, and then for every question, we need to read them out to be translated for all of the languages, because interpretation colleagues are not seeing the functions here. There's a question about the participation fee. This is being worked on. I'm wondering if anybody from KFS is willing to address this in particular. Mr. Kim?
Thank you, Peter. On behalf of Mr. Ko, I would like to respond to this question. Actually, we are under discussion at the moment, but we are considering the standard as $700 for the registration fee, and early bird will be 40% discount. That's the at the moment plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there's a question here saying that the EU Commission is also working on forest health, and the question is whether the EU Commission is invited. Well, everybody is invited to the World Forestry Congress. This is an invitation. This is an open invitation, meaning that it is open to all. And certainly in the course of the preparation of the program, there will be several partners contacted, and a collaboration will be established along the way. Whether this will include the EU Commission, this is too early to say at this stage, as we have just started working on the program, but I can assure you that all important partners will be invited. And there's another question here. This is whether there is a final declaration or a kind of resolution document being planned on the Congress theme. Yes, we would like to have an outcome document of the Congress. It may be not only one document, it may be more than one document, depending on the ideas that will be brought forward along the way of the preparations. We would like to have an open consultative process to develop those outcomes, and those will be presented to the participants in the closing plenary of the Congress. What exactly the right focus of those outcomes and what exactly the focus of their content should be, this is also part of the discussions. One of those discussions is expected to take place actually during the 25th session of the Committee on Forestry in October this year, where we will be presenting the preparations of the Congress, and we will seek the guidance of the member states of FAO in this regard. But we have other sources of guidance and support as well, including the CPF consultative group and the advisory committee composed of esteemed colleagues from all over the world. And by the way, the composition of the committee can be viewed at the Congress website. We are very strongly supporting, we're expecting the support of these colleagues in the development of the outcome documents. There is another question regarding a possible 2-week mandatory quarantine entering Korea. And the question is, will this apply to international participants as well? Maybe this is too early to ask this question, but I'm inviting my Korean colleagues if they are willing to address this.
Well, at the moment, we are also considering these issues. As Mr. Peter said, it is too early stage, but we are considering these issues and we will deal it. Once we confirm, we will upload the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then there's a question regarding expositions or exhibits. I would like to recall here the words of Mr. Kim, who explained that in the COEX complex, there will be an exhibition area provided. This is a very large space, able to accommodate a large number of exhibition booths. And then he also mentioned in the presentation the way the recommendations could be made in this regard. So please follow the website and consider holding an exhibition there during the Congress. And then there's a question on Team 3, and the question is if we could confirm that Team 3 would indeed be focused on the economic value of forest services and products, and whether this team could be extended to the role of wood processing industries in sustainable forest management. Yes, indeed, the Team 3 is about that topic, and certainly the wood products and especially their development and their role in the future constitute an important part of the discussion. But I would like to invite Simone Rose to elaborate further on that question. If she has the connection. If not, then maybe we can proceed. There's a question about the next steps for governments. Well, there are no formal steps for governments, really. The Congress is not an intergovernmental meeting. The Congress is a gathering of participants who all appear there in their personal capacity. The next steps, the real step for the governments could be, as I mentioned, the Committee on Forestry meeting, where the member countries will discuss the preparations and provide their guidance for the preparations of the Congress. And we hope that the next step for the governments will be after the Congress, when the outcome will be presented to, I hope, to several fora, including the FAO governing bodies, the Committee on Forestry as a technical committee, the FAO Council, and the FAO Conference, for further consideration and implementation. And we would like to hope that countries under other processes would also benefit from the outcome of the Congress. First and foremost, I'm thinking about the Convention on Biological Diversity, or the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNCCD. I'm sure that in the outcome there will be a lot of information and useful recommendations for these processes as well. There is one question here in French, whether the Congress is foreseeing high-level recommendations such as a global convention. Most likely, this is too early to say. As I mentioned earlier, the Congress outcome will be shaped in the coming weeks and months. And if this is the desire of the participants, certainly this kind of recommendation could be developed as well. It has to be understood, however, that the Congress itself is not an intergovernmental meeting. It does not have a special legal standing. Therefore, any of its recommendation could be implemented by relevant processes within or outside FAO. I'm wondering if colleagues from Korea, especially on the expected outcome of the Congress, are willing to elaborate on this further.
Well, at the moment, we do not have special plan, but we will follow the previous case studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then there is another question. How is FAO planning the preparatory process timing? I think my colleague Simone Rose mentioned the most important deadlines here. And that is the end of August, by when we would like to receive your valuable recommendations for abstracts of papers and posters, and later on for videos and also for side events. And then after analyzing and evaluating those proposals, the Secretariat will inform those whose recommendations will have been seen favorably to elaborate the full papers, and then we hope that many of them will be of so high quality that they could be presented at the Congress. And the most important timeline for the preparations of the Congress can be viewed in the website. The other key step is indeed the registration, and as mentioned by my Korean colleague, Mr. Kim, the registration will open in end August and will be open for early bird registration till the end of November, and after that the normal rate will apply. And there is a very interesting question related to this. If we made the early bird registration, but we failed to go to Seoul to participate in the meeting due to the COVID-19 or the global travel restrictions, could the registration be refunded? This is indeed a very pertinent question, which is being considered now. And I wonder if Korean colleagues would like to elaborate on this a little bit further. Over to you.
Yes, the payment is refundable in the case of travel restriction due to these COVID-19 challenges, excluding a remittance charge. Details will be posted on the website soon. In addition, our basic policy for participants who are facing inevitable cases such as COVID-19 or else, the Secretariat is considering to refund the full amount of registration fee, excluding a remittance charge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a very, very helpful and supportive arrangement. We can't be grateful enough to our Korean colleagues. I would like to mention, however, that the special care would need to be applied when making bookings for flights or hotel reservations, because those fall outside the competence of the Secretariat. There is another question here, and the question is, the date of the CBD COP15 has been officially postponed to late May 2021 as well. Will this pose any influence on the Congress? Yes, the CBD has announced recently the date of COP15 being 17th to 30th of May 2021, meaning that there will be a complete overlap between the Congress and the COP. Understanding that this was the decision of the parties to the CBD, we means Korea and FAO, started working very closely with the CBD Secretariat to understand the program of the COP and try to make the most and best synergies between the two events. And in doing so, we are also seeking the guidance of the CPF consultative group and the advisory committee to make the best out of this coincidence, and we will keep participants posted, and these certainly will be reflected in the program as well. But for the time being, there are no plans to change the date of the Congress. There's another question here, and that is what kind of format of participation is possible for countries? Could we show any scientific publications, etc.? Well, if the question is about participation for experts from countries, then there are a number of ways to do so. The best is to make recommendation either for a publication, a paper, a poster, or a film, or recommend a side event. As I mentioned earlier, these will all be evaluated, and the best and most relevant ones will be selected. There will be two categories, one which will be published in the proceedings of the Congress, and another one that will also be presented in one or the other event. So I would like to encourage everybody to consider seriously making contributions to the Congress and try to recommend products that would interest the global community, and we would be happy to take them. And for the moment, I see no other question. I see a comment, but these are not questions. We appreciate those comments, and we look forward to the participation of your organizations. Going back to the questions, there's one question appearing as unanswered, but I think I have addressed this theme being focused on the economic value of forest services and products. Yes, and those will be including also the wood processing and the development of wood products and the future of the processing industries in the forest sector. And Alberto Mendes said gracias, and I say de nada. As there are no further questions appearing, except one, there is one question in Spanish, and then no, I'm waiting for the translation of that one. And meanwhile, can I take an English question here, saying, could we post to early next year the submission of the papers? If we stick to November, the work would actually be 1 year old by the time the Congress, and most of us would have released before the Congress. Well, I mean, this is certainly always a big challenge, that the processing of the recommendations takes time, and then during that time the information is somewhat aging. We would like to be as up to date and as possible, and we will consider how these two aspirations could be jointly met. Normally, some delays are always included in the planning, so we understand that sometimes these aspirational deadlines will even change automatically, but the recommendation is duly noted, and we will address this. And somebody asked if there is an intention to send an abstract. it is not related in any way to the registration fee. I can confirm that this is indeed the case. The registration is completely different. You can have as many recommendations for abstracts submitted as possible, and then you can have them even included in the Congress proceedings, but you don't have to be part of the Congress as such. So the two things, participation and submitting a proposal or an abstract, they are running on a parallel track. Certainly if a selection is made in favor of your submission for presentation, that creates a new situation, but that is subject to further agreement. So please feel free to submit all of your ideas, and then whether you are willing to participate or otherwise, that you can decide in the next step. I see no more questions, so I would like to invite Korean colleagues, if they are willing to provide a summary response or overall response to the questions, or the detailed answers have satisfied them as well. Over to you.
Thank you very much. We will summarize the question and answer. We will post it on the website. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And then that reminds me of the arrangement we are having here, that any unanswered questions or any questions that you may have as a follow-up to this webinar, please feel free to send them to the contact information that was presented earlier, either the FAO addresses or the info@ general email address for the Congress. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for these questions. Thank you very much for the interest in the Congress. And I would like to invite Mr. Hiroto Mitsugi, the Assistant Director General for Forestry in FAO, to deliver his closing remarks and put the preparations for the World Forestry Congress into a broader policy context. Hiroto, over to you.
Well, thank you, Peter. And also, thank you all your participants for joining this webinars. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Republic of Korea for your leadership on the Congress. Already Christian has mentioned that every Congress represents quite unique opportunities to respond to the challenge of the times. So, but this time's World Forestry Congress is really unique, as it marks that the last decade of our effort towards 2030 agendas and SDGs, and then also that our global forestry goals. And it will also coincide with the beginning of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework and United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restorations. So these are just to name a few global development where forests have a crucial role to play. And the Congress takes place when the world is emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic and aims to not only build back what has been destroyed by the pandemic, but to build back better with forest. But these are quite big challenges. You might know that we launched the latest Forest Resource Assessment 2020s. From this report, we know that globally around 178 million hectares of forest has been lost since 1990s. We also know that much of the forest lost has been due to unsustainable agriculture practice targeting increased food production to meet the global population growth. However, the rate of the net forest loss has decreased substantially in the last decade due to reduction in deforestation in some countries, plus increases in the forest areas in other countries through afforestation and the natural expansion of forest. In spite of progress made, we are not on the track to achieve the many of SDGs or global forest goals. Not only more need to be done, but we need to do things differently. Forests have a multiple role to play. Of course, you might know that in sustainable development, including tackling climate change, supporting local economies, protecting biodiversity, providing food, energy, and waters. But no sectors and no one single stakeholders alone can make this happen. An inclusive approach would require that all stakeholders, government, civil societies, private sectors, engineers and local communities, family farmers and smallholders, women and youth should be included in transformative decision-making process that must occur in the post-COVID-19 pandemic. In this light, we very much appreciate that active your participation today of the many webinars attendees attending from across continent and across sectors. And the questions, so thank you for your questions and the comment, and today's what we explained to this World Forestry Congress, and particularly the outcome of the Congress and also preparation for the document. And of course, this all of us are concerned with the situation of COVID-19. But I think that, of course, we carefully to watch the situation, but we all to hope we will meet physically at Seoul. So, and thank you for your contribution, and I really hope to see you again. That is all your participants and physically in the Congress at the Seoul. So this is the end of my remarks, and then so by concluding my remarks, I would like to say stay safe, and then so let's join this Congress and meet you in the next year. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Hiroto, for these closing remarks. And I would like to thank all the participants. This was an excellent discussion. We are very happy to have this. We got lots of interesting thoughts and ideas to work on them further. Please continue visiting the Congress website. Please continue sharing with your ideas with us. And please continue thinking about making contributions, including participating at the Congress, because this, after all, is your Congress. You, the participants, will make it a success. You will make it a remarkable event. We in the Secretariat are at disposal to provide the conditions and the facilities for that. Again, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in the cyberspace and physically in the World Forestry Congress next year. Thank you. Bye-bye.